I have special thanks tonight for our Celebrity Salons and Great Chef Committee members. They joined forces this year to create a virtual mashup. They pulled elements from each of these series and we came up with kind of a greatest hits. I know a lot of you have been with us to enjoy those over the last few months. We look forward to resuming our in-person events in the near future, but until then, keep an eye on your inboxes and we hope to have more for you. Our sincere thanks also go to our WCC Foundation board members and the Board of Trustees of WCC, some of whom have joined us tonight. We have generous sponsors for tonight's event. These sponsors help us ensure that the funds that we raise go directly toward helping our students through scholarships and in support of our on-campus food pantry. Take a peek at the full list of wonderful sponsors on the back of your programs. I have my program here. These are all of our amazing sponsors. Now let me tell you a few things about WCC itself. Over 35,000 people take classes at WCC each year, making it Westchester's largest educational institution. And some of our students are headed toward careers in sectors like the health sciences, the culinary arts, cybersecurity, and some are on track for academic associate degrees with aspirations to transfer to a four-year college. The tuition for a full-time student, it's just under $5,000. And while this may seem like a bargain relative to other institutions, for many of our students, especially those who may be the first in their families to attend an institution of higher education, it's often a seemingly insurmountable sum. On top of that, the true cost of attending WCC with books and transportation, food, the opportunity cost of being in class instead of being at a job, it's really closer to about $16,000 a year. And this cost for sure feels out of reach for many. I'm proud to say that during the most recent academic year, our Westchester Community College Foundation awarded over $2 million to over 1,000 of our determined, dedicated WCC students. So if we were meeting in person, that would be an applause line. You can all just clap at home. And while you're thinking about our amazing students and getting started with your dinner, as Elise has instructed you to get started on, I wanted to introduce you to one of our amazing students. You'll learn more about the WCC experience from Rob Hildrew than you will from me. So may I introduce you to Rob Hildrew.
My name is Rob Hildrew. I'm attending my last semester at WCC, Westchester Community College. The first step for me when I finish at WCC is either continue my schooling at Delhi University, because I've seen that they've had a nice little culinary program going on over there and great reputation. The other option for me was opening up like a food truck or something, because I've always had like a dream about being my own boss. It's something that always interests me growing up. And then for why I chose WCC, being from Mayapack and it being a senior school, I knew the price range was just right for me. So I heard from other people that they had a nice culinary program. I knew one of the chefs, actually met him at a BOCES fundraiser. And he was a nice guy, told me everything about the program, gave me the ins and outs. You know, before COVID happened, it was mostly hands-on every week, making sandwiches, you know, from prime rib to, you know, stir fry, stuff like that. And after COVID, once it happened, the pandemic, we kind of lost that. But luckily, you know, the sanitation team has done a good job on letting us come in 1 or 2 days a week in order to, you know, be hands-on in the kitchen, since we need the experience. But when I was before COVID, when I was juggling a job and 6 classes each semester, so it was tough, and I had to figure out ways of how to adjust my study time and my work time as well. So after the pandemic, though, once it happened, I ended up losing my job since I work at a catering hall. So I had, I guess you could say, extra time to do all the work, put in that hard work, and eventually it led to multiple scholarships, which I'm very pleased about, and I'm happy that they recognize my hard work. But receiving the scholarships made me realize that the hard work does pay off in the end. I'm glad that, WCC took note of that. I mean, it wasn't easy, but attending WCC has definitely given me a great starting point for the next chapter of my life, and can't wait to see what life brings.
Thanks so much to Rob for making time to come and share his experience and perspectives with us. He has class now, so he couldn't join us live, but we hope that he will enjoy the meal we sent and watch the recording of the delicious doings in the Lonizio kitchen when he has a chance. And since he's a culinary student, maybe he'll pick up a few tips. And at just 19, his career is entirely ahead of him. Our next guest tonight, Tom Deacon, WCC class of 2002 and founder of Fable Farm in Ossining, New York, will showcase what life is like on his Westchester farm, including sustainable practices, free-ranging animals, and how he and his team partner with local restaurants, including Lonizio, and small businesses. You will probably be surprised to see how close this hidden gem is to where most of us live, and will likely want to add it to your errand rotation. Tom says that part of Fable's philosophy is to give consumers access to fresh and local goods so that we can all shop as though we are chefs. Here's the video.
I'm Tom Deacon. I work here at Fable from Farm to Table, located in Yorktown. In 2015, I was a film editor down in Manhattan, and during my train commutes, I'd read the news, read about the toxic chemicals in the food system, and it just really scared me. So I started growing on my own at home, and at the time I was living in a 2-bedroom apartment over in Croton. And we had some potted plants outside in my small little patio area. And then when the winter came, I wanted to bring them indoors and grow produce year-round. So I took my second bedroom and I mounted what's called a sump tank with water and these vertical towers. Must have made my neighbors very nervous to have purple grow lights coming out of my window, but I was growing basil and kale and spinach and cilantro in winter in New York in January. It's freezing outside and I had fresh produce in my apartment. Something told me to reach out to restaurants and see if they wanted that too. So I started sending out emails to restaurants, and by the time I sent that 5th email out, the first chef responded and said, yes, if you have fresh basil in January, I'll take it. Like, it's a no-brainer. I found the land here on Route 134 and rented out one greenhouse, and one thing led to another. So yeah, that's how it started. I would describe the farm as a group of like-minded individuals that really want to provide the community with fresh produce. That's really why I started the farm and why Grace and Amber and Ashley and all the volunteers that come here. We just want to know that our food is safe, it's delicious, it's fresh, and I also think that there's a slight educational component to it. People can come here with their children, they can see our free-ranging chickens, they can feed them. And it's nice to go where you're grocery shopping and to be able to see where the produce is coming from. They see the greenhouses, you can walk around, you can see the heirloom tomatoes that we're harvesting on a Thursday or Friday and you're getting on a Saturday. That's just what the farm is about. It's providing fresh, healthy, delicious food to the neighboring community. In the future, I hope we can have more of the festivals and the dining experiences that we just started to really have recently. They've been hosting greenhouse dinners now. Going forward, I like to have that more regularly, and just get people to have a chef cook for them and to eat with the seasons. I think what makes Fable unique is where we're located. It's incredibly difficult to have a farm located in the suburbs or in an urban area, just because of land prices and values and whatnot. So to be able to be here in Westchester County is great because you can get all your fresh produce here. You're supporting a farm in this area. You're also supporting other small businesses as well when you come and shop at our farm. So I think if the community could just help spread the word about the farm and come and support our market on the weekends, even sign up for a CSA membership, that would be great. The money that we receive is also going back into the local community. So it's just a really great and productive circle.
That That was amazing, amazing. Tom, thank you so much. I really look forward to shopping at your market and hoping that I get to see some of those free range chickens walking around. I think we'd also love to bring an event to the greenhouse when we all start gathering in person again. We're just so proud to claim you as one of our own as a graduate of WCC. For those of us planning events like this during the pandemic, it's been especially rewarding to highlight local businesses like Fable Farm, Lenizio, and the LGH Candle Company as they all figure out how to reinvent themselves while feeling the economic impact of COVID. By now, we hope that you found some of those goodies that are local here to Westchester in your well-stocked event bags. You'll see that there is a certificate for a discount at Fable Farm, generously provided by Tom and his team. Thank you, Tom. This is the show and tell portion of the show. This is a lovely bottle of wine to enjoy with your dinner from one of our most enthusiastic sponsors, Wine Enthusiast. They're located in Valhalla, not far from WCC's campus. Wine Enthusiast has been a wonderful friend to the college and a supporter of our Great Chef series when we were meeting in person. And how about these beautifully packaged LGH candles? LGH is for Little Gray House. It's a small women-owned business in Mamaroneck. The founder and proprietor, Dina Ane, makes gift sets and full-size candles and they can be purchased online, and Tom carries them at Fable Market as well. My WCC colleague is going to drop those links into the chat for you. I love learning about all these partnerships between these Westchester businesses and finding out about local businesses that we can support, especially in this moment when they really do need our support. Tom's going to come back and join us again at the end of the evening when we do our Q&A. And so if you have questions for him, that'll be a good time to reach out and ask. As you follow along tonight, if you'd like, maybe take a selfie or two and show us how you're enjoying your meal with your wine and your candle. And my colleague from WCC is going to drop some hashtags into the chat so that we can all share the experience. And you may have seen this on the registration site. We're selling $50 gift cards to Lenizio for $75. The additional $25 will go toward our student scholarship fund. That's a tax deductible donation, and also support our on-campus food pantry. This is just another way to support our students while you're helping a local restaurant. In the past, Lenizio has been a really generous partner to WCC. They've sponsored great chefs dinners, and they're great with our students. And it's our great privilege to encourage our WCC supporters to go ahead and support them and all these local businesses during this super challenging time. So if you're interested in buying a gift card or want more information about any of those businesses, you can click on those links in the chat or just write that you'd like one and a WCC staffer will reach out to you. And now it's time to welcome our main attraction, our special guests, Heather and Scott Fratangelo, the owners of Lenizio in Ardsley. They live here in Westchester and have been working side by side in the kitchen for years. Rated as one of the best Italian restaurants by Westchester Magazine, Lenizio offers a seasonal, Italian-inspired menu featuring locally sourced ingredients, some from Fable Farms. Heather and Scott have been good friends to the college for a number of years. Maybe you were with us at a Great Chefs at WCC a few years ago when Scott made his famous sweet potato gnocchi and Heather made a delicious baked caramel apple with homemade ice cream. I'm sorry if you missed that. I'm just reminiscing, and it was yummy. We're thrilled to partner with them again. Before opening Lenizio, Scott was the executive chef and owner at the award-winning Spiegelau in New York City. And prior to that, he made his mark at some of New York's most celebrated restaurants, including serving as sous chef at the Union Square Cafe. That's where he and Heather met. At Gramercy Tavern, Capsuto Frere, Cafe Centro, and Estia. Scott is a graduate of the New York Institute of Technology's culinary program, and he works closely with Feeding Westchester to help feed the 1 in 5 people here in our county who are food insecure. Executive pastry chef Heather developed her love for all things dessert, also at New York's Union Square Cafe, and at 11 Madison Park, DB Bistro Moderne, and Salute. Heather is a graduate of the French Culinary Institute. And I'm sure I butchered some of those restaurant names. I'm so sorry. That's all me. When the pandemic hit last year, Heather and Scott got creative with their outdoor space in Ardsley, and they took over the whole backyard and driveway behind the restaurant setting up white lights, tables, and then they added in heaters as it got colder. The outdoor dining opened up again last week, giving us a little hope that spring is on its way. They also have outdoor events planned for the spring and summer, including outdoor cooking classes and some specialty wine dinners. Again, my WCC colleague's going to drop Lenizio's website and their information into the chat. So if you want more information about that, be sure to sign up for their mailing list and follow them on Instagram so you can keep up to date with their events. Now, Heather and Scott have been busy these past few days making the nearly 200 meals that we are serving for tonight's event. By the way, I hope everybody is already tucking in and enjoying their meals. In the upcoming video now, we're going to get a behind the scenes peek into the Lenizio kitchen and have a little view on how tonight's meal was prepared. Maybe we'll even get some good home cooking tips in the process. The recipes are going to follow after the event, along with a link to the recording of this gathering. Now, we can't guarantee that cooking these dishes at home will be as easy as Heather and Scott make it look in the video, but the good news is that you're going to be eating their version tonight.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today we're going to demo a bib salad that you guys are going to be eating, and the chicken scarpaiello dish that you'll also be eating. So we'll start with the salad. The ingredients are the bib lettuce. There's butter bib, there's Boston bib. It's all the same kind of thing. It's these buttery lettuce things that a lot of people do wraps with. I like it because it's crispy, and I also like it because it's soft. So it's both. We got toasted hazelnuts that we just break up. We toast them first, then we break them up with a saute pan in a towel or in plastic wrap. Gouda cheese, I like to grate it with the coarse grater on your box grater. And Cara orange, which is awesome. We'll start with the orange. Two ways to do it. Well, first we got to take out the skin. So Cara is like orange and grape, like a pink grapefruit kind of mixed together. And then I kind of just follow the line of the, let me do it this way so you see it, the pith, the white, and I just kind of curve it around. A little tedious, but you don't want to eat that, it's real bitter. And so once we get here, there's two ways to do it. You could either take out segments, which are like kind of what you'd normally see would be the flesh in between here, or you could cut down these kind of circles, which I like to do too, and then I split them, and then when we get real technical, I like to take all this out, see, because it's not really, I don't know, it's not as appealing to chew. But these look cool in the salad. They'll be more noticeable. The segments are awesome, but if you're doing a larger salad, larger format, like you have a bunch of people coming over, the segments will kind of dissolve and get lost. So let's say we're doing that. Now for the lettuce, we're gonna split it. This lettuce, I don't like to chop it all up. So if you see it, I'll cut the tip off a little, the edge, you know, the top half here, kind of shave it. Then we'll take the core out. This is not really going to be very edible. The outside leaves are good. They're a little floppy. They're great for if you want to like roll something in them or something like that. Not that you can't use them for the salad. It's that they're a little bit floppy for me, because you'll see the way I like to present the salad, and that's why you'll see that these are a little floppy. So now I just kind of like to open it up, pull out the very center. A lot of times I'll split the center again to get these smaller versions here. All this, by the way, does not get wasted here on this side, on your right. I save it though, because I just like to use what I like to use for the salad. So with the bib lettuce, I don't like to toss this salad in dressing. I kind of like to just build it in the bowl. I find that it's such a delicate lettuce. Not that it would wilt faster than, let's say, arugula, but it's like arugula, for an example, is like bitter to me, as where like romaine is just crunchy, and I feel like I like to have the dressing on those items already. And this is kind of like more of an iceberg where you could eat it without any dressing and it doesn't really taste like anything, kind of. So I like to set it up like that. And again, this I would save. And obviously you could put it in your salad. You could chop this up, put it on the very bottom. Nobody will even know it's down there, and then you mix it in. Then I start putting these segments around, and if you think they're big, cut them again into quarters. It might be more manageable. I like to have a lot of them. I like to hide some too. Treasures later. I don't like to necessarily just have it all around, so just kind of do that. And I'm gonna put some cheese on. Actually, we'll put the cheese on last. So let's put some dressing on first after we put these nuts on. So the hazelnuts again are toasted. I lay them out. I usually buy whole hazelnuts. I'll lay them out. And I'll just tap them with a pan after they're toasted. I season them with salt when I toast them so that they are seasoned. So I'll put all these nuts around. And then the dressing. The dressing is a sherry and shallot. So sherry is a kind of a very traditional dressing in the world of like kind of French cooking. But what we do is we take the shallot and we make a like a confit out of it, where we cook it in olive oil for a long period of time, and it gets very sweet. It gets very caramelized, and it works great. It's very different than the raw shallot and sherry vinaigrette, which is kind of very atypical. A lot of times it's put on asparagus salads. This to me yields a sweeter product, and not just like a pungent, acidic onion flavor. So what I like to do is just put this on the salad on the top, see? So I'm stirring it. You could put this in a squeeze bottle, would be easy. If you're not, then just stir it right before you do it. Make sure you get the shallots up into the vinegar and oil, because they will definitely just sit on the bottom. And if you don't stir it and you keep using it, you'll just have a bunch of shallots at the end when you get to the bottom. So I like to do that. And then I like to crack black pepper on it, because I love black pepper a lot. And then I put the Gouda cheese. Gouda's nice, really creamy. It's like a, it reminds me of like a Gruyere, but not so sharp, not so intense, a little more smooth. And then from here, I would, that's it. I would serve it. You could garnish it with radishes. You could do whatever you want, but pretty much that's the dish. Okay, so we'll move on to the chicken scarpaiella dish. We run this at the restaurant. It's on the menu. It's been on the menu for a while. It's a very popular dish. It's a slightly different version of, I guess, what they would say is a traditional chicken scarp. So we have escarole, which I love to sit it on. We have sausage, which is chicken that we make in-house. I think traditionally it's done with pork, like sweet fennel sausage. Potato, which are usually roasted. We kind of boil them, and then we use fingerlings. We cut them and we finish them in the sauce. And cherry peppers, which are also traditional. We have preserved lemon and garlic that we start with, and there will be some butter in it, and some salt. So don't be afraid. So we're going to start with a pan. Let's say whatever pan you're going to ultimately bake this in the oven in. And in this case, since it's one chicken, we'll do a saute pan. But I would suggest something like a cassoulet or some sort of deep dish pan where you could. So I start with a little oil. I'm gonna get the garlic. So preserved lemon we make here. Obviously you don't have to make that. I would say maybe use a little lemon zest, or a little lemon juice, or a combination of both, to kind of create that. We do a process of like where we kind of salt it and cure it for about a month, and then we use it entirety where the pith is on and everything. So it gives a cool flavor. It's kind of like a little bit of a fermented flavor. All right, so in here I like to start with the sausage and the potato. So the sausage is, in my case, I would, let's say you buy your sausage, all right, we're doing chicken here. let's say you buy chicken or pork sausage, whatever it might be. I like to parboil them, okay, and then cook them like 3/4 of the way through, and then I cool them. And then when I'm ready to use them, I'll brown them a little on the outside, and then slice them into what you're seeing now. So they get the color on the outside as if you kind of roasted them, but you have more stability when you just parboil them, where the sausage filling sets, and you won't have them blow out on you all the time. Throw some potatoes in. So all this is getting done, and then I would what I would do is I would have started with the browning of the chicken breast, which for the sake of television is done. I'm going to add some cherry peppers. And I'm going to add some white wine. Sorry, I don't want to smoke you out. Critical item is vinegar with chicken scarp. I use red wine vinegar. It gives good color and it's pretty intense. Then I will add chicken stock that I have over here. Okay, and then what I would do, let this come up to a boil, right? And I would take some salt, sprinkle it in. Depending on your stock. If we make our own stock, we don't add salt to it. If you're buying broth and it's seasoned, you may not have to add any salt. I'm gonna add a little bit of butter into it, like a tablespoon or so. It'll help finish the sauce and give it a nice sheen, give it nice and shiny. And then I would then take the chicken breast that has been browned and then pop it inside the pan. Basically now you'll wait, this will come up to a boil, and you'll take this and then completely put it into the oven and let it cook for, I would say, about a half hour. And then pull it out. And when you pull it out, you're going to end up with something like this. You could see, it's a good thing to see here. Where you see how this is liquidy, all right? And you see this has gotten kind of this is more clear, this is more cloudy. This is now reduced. It's taken, this chicken was in here in the oven. So now you see what's happened. The potatoes release starch. And now we're at this stage where we're going to just reduce it down to get the sauce where we want it, and then we're going to plate it. I like to finish it with some parsley. Right before I plate it, I don't throw the parsley in until I'm going to plate it. The other thing now is the escarole. Let's talk quick about that. Let me grab a pan. So the escarole I pre-cook, we saute. You could do whatever. You could roast it. You could throw it on a grill. You could do whatever you want to do, but I would have this pre-cooked already and cold. And in this case now I'm just going to warm it up. Let's say I'm going to plate this, this whole dish right now. The escarole is a cool green ingredient slash prop for the chicken breast. That's really kind of the only real reason why I use it. The dish has got plenty of vegetable in it. I mean, in terms of the actual sauce, it's hearty enough. This to me just kind of sets the breast up. So the presentation is kind of cool. And traditional chicken scarp is like bone-in pieces that are cut big. The wing bone is on our breast, but really it's just a breast. So I'm gonna come over here now, and I'll put some of this right in the middle, kind of in a higher pile, right? Then take the chicken breast. I like to cut it at the restaurant, but so I'll show you that too. I add some parsley to this now. I'll stir in some parsley. I like to use a slotted spoon and just start putting goodies down. All the sausage, the potatoes, the peppers. If you don't like spicy cherry peppers, then just put red like sweet peppers, like roasted pepper. The pepper flavor is it's a pretty integral part of the dish. So sweet peppers work fine. No, I do it all the time here. We pick our own baby peppers, and the people that don't want it spicy will put it up. So now I will take the breast, just cut it on a bias, and then I could lay one piece down, keep the pile tight, put this one up here, just get it to kind of hang in there, and then I'll sauce it. So the sauce, if you once you take all the goodies out, you could then return it to the fire if you kind of want to get it to like where it sits on a spoon like that, nice and coating. You don't want it too thick; it'll kind of break and get dry. But if it's too loose, it's kind of like a broth, and that's not really what you want. You kind of want this where it kind of seeps out at the bottom. But you see how it lays on the chicken? That's what you're looking for. That's what you're looking to achieve. And this is the chicken scarp.
All right, everybody. Hi, how are you? Today we're going to be doing the apple hand pies because everybody loves an apple pie. And we all love something on the go, hold in the hand, easy, quick, fast, but you get to savor it while you're eating it. So what we're going to do first is make the dough. It's pretty easy dough. However, there is a lot of chilling in between because you have to always have the dough cold before you put it in the refrigerator. But to get started, we're going to use the food processor. I use a food processor because it cuts the butter, and you want a nice flaky dough, and that cutting will help it do that. So in goes the flour. I did 2.5 cups of that. We have some salt. Always add the salt. And then we have 1/2 cup of butter. We are going to cube it. 1/2 cup is usually, it equals to about 1/2 pound of butter or 2 sticks. We're going to cube it so it helps the process go quicker and more evenly. And this dough, there's a lot of different doughs you can use for this type of thing, but I found this recipe, and it's really moist and really flaky, and I love that. So we're gonna just pulse it so the butter gets nice and sliced. And you only do this until you don't see any big chunks. And I'll just see little chunks, and that's what you want right there. Maybe a little bit more, a couple more pulses. All right, so now after that, we want to add our wet ingredients. And we have 1/2 cup of water. We have 4 teaspoons of an acid. You can use lemon juice. I chose to use white vinegar. And what the acid does is it makes it nice and moist and tender. Excuse me. And then we also have some sour cream, which again adds richness and has a little bit of that acidity as well. So you're just going to mix that up. And then you're going to add it in. And you're going to add it in slowly as you're pulsing it. Just until it comes together. Just get some of that in there. Really a nice dough, but again, you really have to chill it in between. It's coming together nice. And you don't want to overwork it either, so. And then you wrap it, and then you chill it. Form it into a disc. And then you're gonna just stick it in the refrigerator and chill it for about 2 hours. You can chill it for at least 2 hours, or you can freeze it up to a month and then roll it out. So I'll just put that in the refrigerator. And then we have another, I made one in advance. And we are gonna roll it out. Flour the board really nicely because it's a bit sticky and wet. It's not very wet, but it's soft. It's a little sticky. When I roll the dough, I like to go from the center out so you're not overworking the dough a lot. You want to get it kind of thin, but thick enough so it will hold an apple filling. I think it's about 1/8 of an inch, they say. If you find it sticking, just flour it a little bit more. And then what we're gonna do, you can do any kind of shape you want for this turnover. You can do a circle, you just have to, and fold it over. You can do 2 circles, and so it's a round little pie. I chose for you guys to do, where's my ruler? I wanted it to look like a little like Hot Pockets. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a rectangle. And I did 3.5 by 4. I'll just show you quick. By 4. All right. Just do one more. You can always eye this as well. All right. So what you're gonna do is, like I said, chill it all the time. So this goes into the refrigerator again. So we're gonna get started on the apple filling. I love to use whole different bunch of different types of apples, but I've been using the Gala. I find that it's a nice soft apple, really fragrant. Okay, so to add to this, I add sugar and cinnamon, and you want to cover it all, let the juices out, and we're also going to cook it a little ahead of time. Cook it on low until all the juices come out and it gets a little bit softer. This takes about 8 minutes or so. this is how it turns out. You're gonna take this and you're gonna cool it because you don't want it to go on cold pastry. Okay, so I just pulled out my dough from the refrigerator. What I'm going to do is just brush the edges with a little water. And then I'm going to get my chilled apples. And now you're gonna pile it in the middle, probably about a tablespoon or so. And try not to get the juice in there because it would make it hard to bake together and the sides will not hold closed. They won't seal. Okay. A little bit more in there. Okay. And you're going to take this and put it over and seal it with the fork. And repeat it with this one. And here we go, last one. All right, and then we're gonna poke some holes. You can use any design you want. And then just put it on a baking tray. And stick it in the refrigerator again to make it cold again because it is a little soft. Okay, so before we put it in the oven, we want to brush it with a little bit of egg yolk to give it a nice shine. And then we're also going to sprinkle it with sugar. All right, in a 375-degree oven.
Amazing. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Heather. You make it all look so easy. I think you might have tricked me into thinking that I could replicate this meal myself at home. Maybe so, maybe not, but we're going to be sending out the recipes after the event tonight to everyone, so we can at least give it a try. And for everyone who's watching at home, I bet you can't wait to dig into your meal if you haven't already done so. Truth be told, here in our house, we've already finished dinner while watching Scott make our dinner, which was kind of a meta experience, but we still have the apple hand pies to go. So while I get started on that, and maybe some of our other attendees or at other points in their meal, let's jump into the question and answers. So if you have questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat and we'll get them over to Scott and Heather. But I'm going to get us started. Scott and Heather, tell us about how you got started. Where did, first of all, welcome and thank you. And thank you for making all those hand pies. I can't believe how many hand pies you had to make for our guests tonight. Tell me about how you got started. Where did Lenizio come from?
So Lenizio was started. We had been in the city for a number of years. We got out of a restaurant project. We were in there, came up to Westchester.
Well, we've been living up here, but
Yes.
decided
Decided we wanted to do another thing
close to home.
close to home. Again, we like being our own bosses. And, you know, after a couple of years of living in Westchester, we kind of thought we knew, you know, clientele, what they wanted. And we thought that maybe something like our first
Similar to what
restaurant
we were doing,
could
yeah.
work up here. So
Yeah.
that's how it kind of got started.
Yeah, and the restaurant space was just a friend owned it before us, Shay, and he was getting out of it. And it kind of just, I don't know, fell in, you know, we really didn't know anything about Ardsley to necessarily, you know. It just, he was there, he owned the restaurant, he lives there, and we decided to take it, you know. And then we expanded it into a space next door for the bar, which was a really a huge move. And because the bar was just in the middle of the restaurant, it was kind of wonky. And now it's got its own little identity, the bar, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Great. We're getting some hand pie questions here and they feel kind of urgent.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
want to get to those before we go back to talking about your story.
Heather says to warm it up.
I
Do
prefer.
you need to warm it up? That's the question.
Yeah.
It-
And
it's
how do we warm it up?
I would put it in a toaster oven if you have one of those, so it gets nice and crispy on the outside, or the oven, and
Here's
just to warm it up.
Here's another one. Any other fruit?
Perfect.
Apples?
Perfect. And someone else is asking, how come,
Yeah.
why do you think hand pies are kind of having a moment right now?
Quick, easy on the go. Everybody, everybody likes easy.
People remember the McDonald's apple pie.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrapping them in that wax paper, and I was like, wow, this reminds me of
Mickey D's.
McDonald's.
I'm sure you guys get this question all the time, but what's it like working together?
It's great.
Really?
That's a good answer.
No, it is. We've learned over the years how to kind of balance each other. You know, it wasn't always perfect,
Yeah.
because, you know, we're intense people and we like things how we like them.
Yeah, we're both chefs at the end of the day. Heather's in the front, you know, for service a couple days a week. But yeah, we have learned how to leave it at work, that's the hard part.
Yeah. But
That's
we've
the hard
always done that. We've always left it at work. We could have the most horrible service.
Yeah,
But-
we could be horrible to each other.
And we say
like,
really
you know.
mean things sometimes to each other, but we always tend to leave it at work. But if we do carry it home, we hash it out,
Yeah,
and
we
that's
had to
the
bury
end
the
of
hatchet
it.
immediately.
Yeah.
When did you guys know that you wanted to be a chef, each of you? What was that moment?
Go
For me, it was I didn't really know. I kind of fell into it. I've always enjoyed cooking, but it was an accident, and then I really got the bug. I was working. You know, it was a summer. I think I was in my senior year of high school, going into senior year. I was landscaping. I grew up on Long Island, and one of the guys on the landscaping crew was the chef at a restaurant. And he would do landscaping in the summer and make a lot of extra money. So whatever, one day he's like, dude, I'm really in a jam. Can you come in? And I'm like, come in what? And he's just asked me to come and help. And that's kind of how it started for me. I went in, I was kind of like doing prep, you know, and man, the energy and it was like really captivating. It just really took over you. And just the whole charge of the restaurant, it was pretty dynamic. And then I went to college, and then I just said, you know what, this is what I want to do.
You really knew.
Yeah, Heather has a different story though. She went.
Yeah, I went to college for nursing, didn't finish it, but when I came home, I knew I didn't want. Well, actually, what am I saying? I did. I graduated. I became a nurse. But I came home and I knew that I did not want to do that. I moved out to California. So I came home and I just was kind of racking my brain. What do I want to do with my life? This is not what I want to do. So I was watching a lot of the Food Network, loved, all the shows. I loved like he was saying, the energy and just the creativity of it. So then I went to culinary school. And again, like I worked in a restaurant and the energy of it was so intense and inspiring.
It like really drags you in.
It really does. It drags you in.
For some people, it's a horrible thing to happen. But,
but it was great. It turned out, the road we took turned out okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how you both talk a lot about the energy in the restaurant and how that was a big part of what pulled you in. It was like you just knew, like those were your people. You got there and you felt
there's like a camaraderie in the kitchen. There's a real like team feeling. If you've played sports, it's the same kind of feeling where you're like you're on field, got to get it done. Every night service is like that.
Yeah.
And it shows in your restaurant. I mean,
Appreciate it.
my husband and I have been there many times. I'm sure a lot of our guests tonight have been too, but we feel that the sort of team and the community that you all have.
Yeah.
When you're thinking about like new menus and new seasons, where do you get your inspiration? Just all the creativity that goes into planning a restaurant.
What do you get?
Just with the seasons, the new seasons coming up, I love all the new fruits that are, new with each season. So I get a lot of inspiration from that. I used to look at a lot of magazines and just images would inspire me and how I wanted to kind of translate that to, what I would want to put on a menu or how I'd want it to look to go out to a table.
Do you have some favorite blogs and like Instagram accounts that really inspire you that we should all be following?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm looking for a recipe, I generally put it in the Google, but what comes up a lot is Brown Eyed Baker. I use a lot of her recipes. But what I do also is when I think, okay, I want to do the apple ham pies, I need a recipe for that. I go to, like I said, images, and I know what kind of dough I'm going for, like the look of the dough I want, the brownness of it, or if I look at the picture that and usually it is always how it turns out, and that's kind of how I know what I'm going for.
Yeah.
How
For
about
me,
you, Scott?
it's the seasons. They inspire me. My favorite is probably springtime, and my source of inspiration is always, following chefs and different chef blogs, but more than anything, I think it's just have been doing it for so long. You like know the flavor of something when you look at it, and like Fable Farms and the things that they produce with the love that they produce them, it makes it easy. I mean, a sheet coming out of a farm like that to my email will inspire me I'll just create items from it. I'll create menu items from it. I will change the menu based upon it. And I'm driven personally by that thing. If he had squash blossom, or if he had, watermelon radish that was just came on the sheet. All of a sudden now I'm going to use watermelon radish. I'm going to try it a million different ways. I'm going to get it on the menu somehow. I'm going to put it on a dish. And these are just simple things, but this is how the gears turn. You see things pop into your face, and you just want to use them.
Yeah.
So
We're going to bring Tom back on in just a minute, and I'm going to ask you about underrated ingredients, so you can plan ahead for your answer to that.
Okay. Yeah.
But before we do that, I wanted to speak about food insecurity, because that's really on our mind on our campus and certainly in Westchester County. I know that you work with Feeding Westchester. Part of the money that we raised tonight is going to support our campus food pantry, it's right on campus at WCC, and it's a partner agency to Feeding Westchester. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your work with Feeding Westchester?
Yeah, when we were in the city, we were working with another organization. It was City Harvest. And when we came up here and opened this restaurant, we just wanted to find another outlet. I think there's a couple other ones, and then we found Feeding Westchester, and I thought, this is great. They're actually close proximity to the restaurant, and I think their vision is great. I think what their mission and what they're trying to accomplish is amazing, and raising awareness in a county that is a high-end county in a sense, and I don't think people realize how many people might be food insecure. You would expect that being in New York City, because you say, oh, you could walk into the subway and see homeless people, and you kind of understand that people may be food insecure. But when you're up here and you drive around these beautiful neighborhoods and different things, and you go to these restaurants, and you may not realize, you may not just even see, because it's not in your face, that people are food insecure. And being in the restaurant business, I think, and serving people, and that's what we do. We do it for money. It's obviously, that's the reason why we open it, but the feeling you get from it is important. And then not wanting to waste food in our restaurant as a chef, and as chefs, minimal waste and total usage, that plays into this whole thing. How could we have people that are looking for food when there's an abundance of food, or there's abundance of waste, or like in the beginning of this pandemic, when crops had to be destroyed because they weren't being moved. I mean, that's soul breaking for us, So that's kind of, and they're a great organization.
Yeah,
they
it feels
really are.
good to give back, and
I can't wait till we get back to doing events and raising money, and they were fun.
I love that, like, the answer for you is just so obvious, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to think about it. You're like, well, of course I do this, and we did
Yeah.
it there, and so we had to do it here, and food is our life, and people need food. So we're lucky to have you.
Listen, food, to me, is the most intimate thing that people have in a relationship, aside from the one that you chose with your significant other. I mean, you're ingesting this, and Tom probably could speak to this. He's growing things that people are putting through their body. He's touching people in ways like we are, that not everybody touches you in that way. Maybe if you're a surgeon, or, you know what I'm saying? So it has to be looked at in a way like that.
That was a great transition. Did we just bring Tom on? Welcome, Tom. Thank you so much for being with us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to go back to that question I promised that I was going to ask about underrated ingredients. It's kind of a sort of a rapid fire question. What do you think is out there that we're not using, that we should be using?
I think microgreens actually is something that, a lot of farm to table chefs have been using. I know we sent them over sunflower shoots on one of our last deliveries, and a lot of people at home don't use them, but it's such a small thing, but it actually could add a lot of flavor to your dish.
Amazing.
What about you, Heather and Scott?
I like to use lemon. I add a lot of lemon, even if it's not a lemon dish, to brighten up fruit. If I do a pie or whatever, I add a squeeze of lemon, and it brightens everything up.
Yeah, for me, I would say anchovy and fermented beans. I think, I think people, I don't know, they should use them more. Use them sparingly and use them more, and they're pretty amazing.
You may have to put that into your cooking lesson, the one that you're doing outside at your restaurant, because I'm not really sure how to use fermented beans in my cooking, but I'm open to learning.
They're very earthy. They kick things up. It's like black garlic.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, Scott, a minute ago you mentioned the pandemic, and even though I think we're all starting to feel like the whispers that we're on our way out, although we're certainly not out,
Right.
I wonder if you had any big takeaways, both Scott and Heather and Lenizio and Tom at Fable. Were there any unexpected changes? Well, all the changes were unexpected, but any of the changes that you made to your business model that you think you might keep going forward, or that you learned something from? And also, maybe, how do you think they represent, this is a lot packed into one question, but how do they represent like other restaurants and other farms?
Yeah, I mean, quickly, I could say outdoor dining for us, a kind of healthy to-go program, and online ordering. Um, Thumb down menu items that we kind of thought we wouldn't do because we thought it wasn't our identity, although we love them anyway. Um,
What?
just simple like parm dishes, chicken parm. We do a squash parm. We do a Milanese. We do a chicken piccata, which is super simple. But things
We may
that,
have ordered that during the pandemic here in our household.
yeah, you know what?
Tray. We used
Yeah,
family style. It was fantastic.
really popular stuff and very approachable. I think identity is important. Was important over this. People identify with items and they feel like they're familiar with them. Yeah, I think yeah, we'll keep a lot of that. We're gonna keep all of that really. So that was,
Okay, well, we want to get back to indoor dining and
Oh,
full
yeah.
capacity and all of that, but we look forward to seeing all of the sort of the Lenizio 2.0 after things are a little more,
For sure.
Yeah, indoor dining is definitely the ultimate.
yeah, we're rooting for you. Tom, what do you think? Tell us about Fable Farms.
I think the biggest thing we noticed was kind of as they mentioned, like going digital and accepting curbside pickup orders and contactless delivery. That was huge for us because as all the restaurants suffered, that hurt the farms too. And the first 2 quarters of last year were gut wrenching. They were really difficult. So we turned to contactless barnside pickup, and we started dabbling with deliveries. And that really helped try to balance the lack of income as we lost income with the restaurants too. So that was a big, tough transition to do. But then when we did it, it really introduced a lot more people to healthy produce. And I think that's kind of a silver lining here, is that a lot more people started being interested in eating healthy because they wanted their immune systems to be better. So.
And you had a lot of family activities at your farm, didn't you also, Tom?
Yeah, because we felt like we had a location that is out in the open air and we could do it safely. We still practiced mask wearing and social distancing, but to offer people the experience to go meet our goats or meet our chickens, it really kind of took off and became very popular. So we started offering that too. And again, that also helped balance out the loss of income. And it also gave people a safe, educational, and fun experience to do during a pandemic.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions now, and they're falling into a few categories. There's just a lot of dessert questions, Heather. I don't know how else to get around it. Someone wants to know what got you into semifreddos, and someone wants to know what other fruits we can put into our hand pies. And someone posted anonymously, what did you guys eat on your first date? Where did you go to eat? That's a lot. Again, I'm compounding all the questions.
At Lupa.
Oh, Lupa.
Yeah, we went to
Oh
lunch
man,
at
that was a
Lupa.
good one.
Yeah, I think
The gnocchi, remember the
obviously
gnocchi?
we had pasta and gnocchi.
That was the chef was Mark. Oh my God, he's great. He was a chef
Yeah.
at Del Posto for a while.
Yeah, we went to
Whew.
lunch there, and
That was
then I
good.
think I had to go to
He was
work, or
great.
he
I
had to
love
go to
going there.
work.
Yeah, we used to go there a lot.
Yeah,
And what other fruits are you going to put in hand pies, Heather?
anything you want. Summertime, I love peaches and blueberries, or just peaches, or just blueberries. Strawberry, blueberry.
Would you do fig?
I mean, you can do fig. Yeah, you can do fig. Rhubarb season is coming up, so I
Oh,
love
yeah,
strawberry rhubarb. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Pears.
Cherry?
That's an underrated
What about cherries? No?
fruit. It's not a big seller in restaurants, although I love it.
Pears?
Pears.
Cherries, I love.
Cool, anyway.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So here's another question. It's a Monday, not this Monday, but another Monday when you're not doing an event for us. The restaurant's closed, you're relaxing at home. What do you guys make for dinner?
What do we
summer
got?
times we always have steak or hamburgers on the grill.
Or
Easy
chicken.
cleanup, or chicken.
Yeah, we usually grill, sit outside and grill. I mean, that's the summer.
These days, though, I mean, just comfort food again. You know,
Pasta,
we
a lot of
have the
pasta.
girls, so they like the pasta, chicken cutlets.
Chicken cutlets.
Um,
We did meatball. We do meatballs.
I
mhm.
think you could
It's pretty generic, yeah. Or it's ordering out, which we've been trying to do too. Since I've been only off one day for a while now. So we try and do our end on supporting too, and we'll just order in, you know.
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just try and keep it. I generally, I really don't want to cook when I'm off, but I will.
Fair enough.
Yeah. it's,
Tom, do you like to cook? What are you doing when you're not growing produce?
No, I'm like you guys. I'm ordering out a lot.
And what about in the farm market right now? What would we see if we went there? Because we're really still just coming out of winter.
Yeah, so you have a lot of root vegetables, radishes and beets. But now that the spring is here, some of the slower growing crops like spinach and arugula and like mesclun mix, they're just starting to come out. They'll grow in the winter and spring, but it's just a little slower than normal. So yeah, that's what you'll see at our market along with apples and potatoes.
We still have a ton of questions coming in. I just wanted to remind everyone of the timing. The program ends officially at 7:45, and we're going to honor that. And then we're also going to stay online and open up everyone's camera so that we can have a more informal visit if we want. But we're getting some questions. I think people want funny stories. Like we want to know a funny story that happened in your kitchen, a funny thing, something unexpected at the farm. Someone caught the chicken running around in your video at Fable Farms. Like, tell us a little something that would surprise us.
all right, what do you got?
Well, my story is I was going to culinary school, and it was my first test that I had to take there. It was a practical, so you had to bake something. And I was going early in the morning, commuting from Staten Island, taking the ferry in. And I was so nervous, had 4 shots of espresso. By the time, because I wanted to be awake and I wanted to be fast. By the time I got there, I was like shaking. And I had to reach up for cocoa powder and it fell on me. Not the whole thing, but a lot of it. And it was, it was embarrassing, but I laughed at myself. So it was fine. It was funny.
Yeah, I have a million stories, but I'll tell you one that was extremely embarrassing for me, and nobody got hurt in this event. So just let me preface that. So I was working in a restaurant, and I was going to Union Square Cafe to trail, which is something you do like prior to being hired to see basically if you suck, they're not going to take you. So basically I went in and I was on the pasta station, and there was a woman there who I still know, and she was kind of showing me the ropes, if you will. The saute pans were above head on a rack on hooks like normal. So after watching service for like 20 minutes, she's like, okay, pick up this next fire. So I go to grab a pan, and the fucking thing falls and hits her right in the head. And I was mortified. She was okay. She did not get knocked out, but I was like, oh my God, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to get this job.
It's inauspicious.
So lo and behold, I stayed there. I became sous chef there. She stayed with the company. She was the wine director at Gramercy. Like, it was just a funny story that we poked fun at for years, I was just so nervous. I wanted the job so bad.
There's some lessons in this.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like how to calm your nerves before you go into a kitchen.
Yeah, well, I tell the new guys now, so that when they fill the fryer, they don't leave the petcock open and there's oil all over the floor.
Yeah.
And the same thing.
Okay, Tom, tell us about your farm.
Geez, funny story. So I still don't even know how this is possible, to be honest with you. But we heat our greenhouses in the winter, and as you mentioned, someone commented that our chickens love to roam around the farm. They're truly pasture raised, and we got a delivery of fuel one day for our greenhouses for the heater, and about 45 minutes to an hour later, we get a call from the propane company saying that they're on their way back because one of our chickens hopped onto the back of their truck and made it all the way down the Taconic. I guess the Taconic, I guess it wasn't
my
Taconic, maybe Route 9 or something like that. And they were 45 minutes away. So they took the chicken, brought it into the front seat with them, and drove it back to the farm for us.
That's so funny.
Like a children's
So,
storybook.
yeah.
Tom, I might have kept it. Sorry.
Yeah, I would have too if I was that guy. With free eggs.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's crazy. One of the craziest stories I can think of. Yeah.
it's pretty awesome.
So funny. Well, you guys are all so great, and you've been so generous to WCC and to our guests tonight. I know I'm watching the questions. They're still sort of coming in. So we're going to do our best to answer as many of them as we can, but we're also going to switch over in a few minutes to where everyone will have a chance to ask a question. If you'd like to stay on, we'd love to keep you, but let me pass it back to my colleague, Elise, after, much gratitude for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Thank you, Ruth, and thank you all so much. We really appreciate your taking the time to talk to us and bringing us behind the scenes into your worlds. And thank you again to all of our dinner guests for attending. Your attention and generosity means so much to our students and to the whole WCC community. We hope you've had a great time tonight. And if you're able to do so, we hope you'll consider making an additional donation to our WCC Student Support Services Program, which provides on-campus food pantry assistance for many students each term. There's a link in the chat if you're interested in donating. Thanks in advance for any contributions. Thank you also to everyone at the college and to Sue Mackey and Jess DeNaro in particular, without whom this evening would not be possible. And special thanks to Suzanne Yearley, whose advice and counsel were essential ingredients for tonight as well. Ruth?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think we're going to switch over now to, as I mentioned, the sort of Brady Bunch version of for our Zoom after party. So bear with us while the staff unmutes everyone. And of course, we're also going to stop recording when we get to that portion. But thank you so much, everyone, for being with us. We look forward to seeing you at our next event. Please keep an eye on your inbox. We're going to be reaching out to you soon. And thank you again to Heather and Scott and Tom for being awesome guests.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.